Hello YouTube, welcome back to Cotler's Reef. I waited a really long time to make this video, and the reason for that is I wanted to really get a good feel on these lights and how the programming works in different settings, read a bunch of literature, and I feel like at this point I got a pretty good grasp on these things so I can give a good review. So first things first, I want to talk about the mounting option that I selected. I went with the goosenecks because my LFS recommended them. Actually, all the advice that I got from my LFS has been fantastic so far. But my personal preference with these goosenecks is not so great. Reason being, I feel they're very difficult to set up in a way where everything looks even. And I also feel like over time, the weight of the lights is causing some of these necks to bend, which is not something that I really like. I forgot to mention a very important detail, so I apologize for the jump back, but this is my first LED light. This is a Reef Ready LED light made by Marineland. Let me tell you something, this thing is bloody awful. And the reason why I think this thing is so bad is because, one, you have no way of controlling it. You just have this little switch right here. So your options are either actinic lights or everything on at the same time. As far as the power goes, this thing only does 55 watts. I paid almost $500 for this stupid thing. Needless to say, the LFS that sold this to me is no longer in business. Fortunately, at the time, I did not know any better. I've had this thing for, I don't know, maybe about 7-8 years, and just terrible. This thing is just absolute terrible waste of money. So if you have a freshwater aquarium and you want to buy a used one for like 50 bucks, go for yours. But in my opinion, this light is not worth more than 50 bucks. Now going back to the Hydras. In the box, you really don't get much. Besides the light and the power supply, you get this fancy instruction manual, and this instruction manual is indeed very fancy. It gives you a lot of very descriptive information and how to set up these lights. So let's take a brief look. You have the Wi-Fi network name, you have the quick setup guide on how to download the application and essentially get started. Various web setting tools, and lights. What do all these lights mean? Warranty information, and that's it. The thing that's missing from this is how to set them up in terms of recommended settings. Went through a bunch of forums, went through a bunch of YouTube videos, pick a source, I went through it, couldn't find anything that I felt was informative enough for me to be able to make an educated decision as to which settings would work best for me. BRS did a really cool video, and I'm going to try to link it below, on just AI Hydra Prime HDs, but nothing on the 26s. So that made it a little difficult for me to play with my settings, and given the fact that my tank is a little different than what they have for display. So whatever. Bottom line is, it took me a while to kind of get this right, and I feel at this point I do have this right. So going back as to why I got these lights. I felt that the price point was right. I also felt that the controllability was good, and the reviews that I read online was pretty good as well. I want to cover just my overall experience with these lights. Although I think that the light production is fantastic and the build quality is excellent, these lights are very finicky. For example, my router is located 15 feet away from my fish tank. 15 feet for the type of router that I have, which is a beast. It's a Asus 3100. I get reception outside. It's an AC router. Unfortunately, these things are reading a mediocre connection. I feel for the price, these things should have at least an N rated NIC card. Fortunately, they don't, and the reception antenna on it is just absolutely terrible. So what happens is when the lights go out, it takes a really long time for them to connect. There's actually quite a lot of instances where when I'm doing some maintenance on the tank and I would unplug these lights, it would take hours for them to reconnect. Lesson learned, once I got an Apex, I no longer unplug these lights. I never, ever unplug these lights because it takes way too long for them to be connected again and go back to their normal settings. So that is a piece that I absolutely hate. And once again, I feel for the money. This is a huge, huge miss on their part. As far as everything else, the fan is absolutely silent. You do not hear it whatsoever. These lights work very well. I've had no issues with them breaking throughout the course of time that I had. The only thing I wish I had was more direction as to the types of settings that I would use. I've had these lights for over a year, just as a side note, and no issues throughout that time. Now going into the settings, as you see, I have quite a few different setups that I tried. I'm not really going to go through the process of how to adjust these settings. There's plenty of videos on that. Just want to give you guys an idea of what I have set up, how I have it set up, and maybe it will help you, or maybe it will guide you in setting up your own lights the way you would want it, using my experience kind of maybe as a model. There's also I would also recommend try to watch as many videos on these lights as possible before you make your final decision, because although there's not that many videos on the different settings, if you look at various different opinions and different success rates, I feel it will help you guys make a more educated decision as to how you want to start playing around. At the end of the day, I feel that these lights are absolutely fantastic. If you're on the market for getting LED lights, this is a great alternative to the Radions. If you're just starting out, just as a beginner, you don't have to get 3 lights. You could get, depending on the size of your tank, let's say for a tank the size of mine, instead of getting 3 lights, you could just get 2, and then you could just add on another module if you like. But in any case, highly recommended. I feel like you get the most bang for your buck with these lights. So if you like the content that I provide, please subscribe, add comments. Comments are great. I try to get back to you guys within a day or two, whatever it is you guys have put up. And thanks for watching.